I'm taking so many risks by playing this on a stream. I think it's non-copyright because it's the 8-bit version, but I don't know. Hello! Just in the last testing phases here to make sure everything is going to the right places and everything's working the way it should. If it's not, this is when I fix it. Usually something breaks. I'm checking it. I'm checking it. And I'm not even checking it in San Diego. What more could you want from me in this case here? Of course, looking at my own stream and getting an ad, because as you do. The problem with having 2 Twitch channels is that happens all the time. It's painful. Oh well. And more ads. Okay. Ads done. I should hear myself. If I don't hear myself, something broke. I hear myself. Beautiful. Okay. Everything is good as we go. Now, puns aside, let me turn the music off here. Puns aside, what we're doing today is Wireshark. We're looking at Wireshark from a layman's perspective. Like, I don't know necessarily how to use this very well. I'm also not a QT warrior that much. Like, I know a little bit, and I will point out what I know as I see things go wrong, but it is not, I'm not a Qt UI developer. I am a web developer. I am a web access auditor. I'm a lot of different things, actually. I'm apparently also a public speaker, given I have to be in San Francisco for that in 2 weeks, but Wireshark's on the docket today, and it's a bit of an interesting one, because Wireshark has been widely proclaimed to not be accessible at all. I remember using Wireshark maybe like a handful of times when I was doing a couple of Try Hack Me rooms a few years ago, and it seemed okay on Windows. Like, we're definitely gonna use the Windows version today because I just don't know enough about all the magic incantations you have to do to get Qt to be accessible on Linux. Maybe there's none anymore. Maybe I'm working from old data, but I remember like having to do a bunch of different, like, make sure a bunch of different like environment variables were set properly, and like Orca had to be Orca and all that. So we're gonna stick with what I know. I'm gonna stick with what I can properly judge, and that's the standard old Wireshark on the Windows. Let me just bring it up, put it on the screen so we have something to look at while I babble at you guys. Give me a second here. Now, the second question is going to be, does this even capture properly? There's always a question with these kinds of programs. Probably in a Windows, in a window capture, it should be fine, but let's just make sure that that's actually a thing we can do, because you never know with these things. Do I have a thing that I can use for that? Something called musics. Oh, Trados. There you go. Trados should work. If I grab this source and put it in the row, fuck. I know what I'm doing. I promise. I promise. I've done this before. Let's see. Where is Wireshark? There it is. So, AI on the wall. Tell me, did I get them all? In a minute, I'm going to send my speech over so, like, screen reader output can be heard, not viewed. That's a little tricky to set up. Yeah, it looks like we're good. I can see the screen. Well, I cannot see this. There's no screen on this desk, but I can see that the window is being captured by OBS, so we should be able to get there. That's good. Not immediately wanting to kick into it, like, you never know, people trickling in, having no idea what the hell's happening. Anywho's, Wireshark is one of these interesting things where I don't think outside of really specific career paths, you're going to use this a lot much. Like, this is really helpful for incident response. This is great for like blue teaming. If you're doing the red team, I think outside of like checking your own work, you will not be needing this too often. But I'm still like a cybersecurity person in training. I might be missing that entirely. But where you are going to see this a lot is schools. Like, if you do any kind of cybersecurity degree or like a lot of the CompTIA stuff, there's going to be a lot of this is going to keep happening today, isn't it? Talking is hard, guys. There's going to be a lot of references to what's the word? To Wireshark in the sense, like, you're gonna like, it's gonna like be in your textbooks, it's gonna be in your lectures, it's gonna be in your labs. So you're gonna bump into it. It's kind of like the burp suite of Blue Team almost, where like you're going to at some point bump into this, and it needs to be accessible because otherwise you can't use the tool the same way or the same manner as your peers, which is not usually what you want. Right off the bat, let me tell you that there is a command line tool, T-Shark, that does, I think, some of what Wireshark does, probably not everything. Obviously, it also, renders in command line, so it is all text only. That's not necessarily always a good thing for screen reader users, but it does sometimes equal the playing field a tiny bit. I do not know to what degree that's true for this particular application. There is definitely a case to be made for T-Shark being like easy to crash on a cracker, seriously. Easier to make more accessible because you're just manipulating text and things at that point. But the GUI came up and like has been popular for a very good reason, and it's been the mode of choice for a great deal of computer users. So while I will command line with you, till the cows come home, there's definitely going to be people who'd rather have this in a graphical view, and sometimes that is just a bit faster. So in that sense, I've seen some sentiments about maybe just make the T-Shark accessible and leave the graphical version of it out. No, that's not really how that works. Different strokes, different folks, and all that. So while that would probably be a workable workaround, it does place the burden of solution with the people who have the problem as opposed to the people who created the problem, aka the developers. Sorry, not sorry. Generally, the way this happens is obviously very varied. It could be a number of different reasons why it's not as good as people would like it to be. It could be a number of things like just limited support in the toolkit you're using, limited research, limited awareness of the things that you should be thinking of while you were making the thing. Particularly in older applications, this happens a lot, where like you just have 20-year-old UI code that you don't want to touch. I think that's what Burp Suite suffers from, actually. Hey, Matt Campos. Yeah, that'll be tricky. Hey, Matt Campos, welcome. I hope you're having a good day today. I started a little early today because I have a meeting at 10, so I have to be out of here by then. And I don't think we're going to need a super long stream for this one. Like, I have a couple of blog articles open, so we can do a couple sort of, like, directed labby things. I tried TryHackMe, but, TryHackMe, customary. All the stuff that they have on Wireshark is locked into their VMs, which, honestly, I don't have the patience nor the urge to break those open and get the files. If you can't be fucked to give me the PCAPs so I can just play with them on my own computer, I don't really want to mess with your stuff. So we're going to have to be a little creative in actually testing the application out. But what I'm going to do first and foremost is just go through the application, see what I'm seeing. Maybe more important, see what I'm not seeing, and then we'll take it from there. So that is, I think, the way forward. Let me entertain you. Yeah, that's a song. Let me see what we can do here. There is I think there's a bot in my stream called Lurks. Not really sure why they're here, but hi Lurks. Appreciate you. Let's have a look at the Wireshark. So it's called the Wireshark Network Analyzer. Not to be confused with that same word with the Y swapped for an I. That's a different tool, and it's not what we're talking about today. Let me put the speech on the right place. Let me slow it down as well. That is the volume, not the speed.
Volume 65. Written off. Rate 40. Rate 35.
So the first thing you're going to see when you open this for the first time is a tree view. And if we go through the tree view, the first problem makes itself known.
Row 7, level 1. Row 8, level 1. Row 9, level 1. Row 10, level 1. Row 9, level 1. Row 8, level 1.
I forget if that row 8, row 9 thing is just something screen readers always do, or if that's a Qt thing, but obviously there is a lot. Oh, delay, that's bad. That's sucky. Good to know, Matt Campos. Thanks for letting me know. Not sure why the stream chat would be laggy. That might be a restream issue. We'll have to see how it progresses. I've been good. So far, can't complain. Just preparing for my talk in San Fran in 2 weeks, so that's gonna be fun. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so we see
Row 7, level 1.
going through these rows, as it were, we see that there is a number of things going wrong here. Like the screen reader isn't aware what's in these rows. These are actually your capture devices, as it were, like your network interfaces. Let's go all the way to the top here. So this is row 1. Left
Row
and
2.
right arrow keys do not seem to
Row 1, level
function
1.
on this particular widget. So if they do, screen readers are not aware anything is happening. You can work around this by using object navigation. If we navigate into the row in the accessibility tree, we can see that currently we have the...
No previous. VMware network at column 1, level 1. No previous. VMware network adapter VNet 8 friendly name column 2, level 1.
That is supposedly the VMnet adapter. So I'm assuming if you click one of these with the mouse or maybe even with enter, it'll pick that one as the interface. But that is already something that you have to sort of know to try. This looks really inaccessible just off the bat because, well, you have a tree view here and it doesn't list what's actually the items in the tree view by just using it as it was intended, which is in this case using the arrow key. So that's bad. That's also hard to fix, I think, because this is a complex Qt object. I'm guessing there is some kind of Q label you can add to the individual widgets and then give that an accessible name, and that will probably fix it. You can probably toString what the actual like name of this row is and then sort of put that in the appropriate label. Don't ask me how exactly that would work. I'm not familiar with your code base, and I don't know how this would work in Qt specifically. But if we're taking the C# example, if we look at something like .NET, usually what they do is they have a toString method that you can put on a data model like this, and it'll just sort of put that string as its sort of string representation of the object, and then you can see the string representation rather than what's happening here. I'm thinking the problem is that there is 2 columns in one tree item. I'm thinking that that is what the issue is. I'm actually not super sure what the leftmost column
1, level 1, no selection.
I'm guessing that might be checkboxes. And I'm guessing if you click them, they'll check.
Left click.
Try that.
View column 1, level 1. No objects inside. View column 3, level 1. Row 2, column 1, level 1. Row 1, column 3, level 1. VMware net column 1, level 1. VMware network adapter VNet 8 friendly name column 2, level 1. Column 3, level 1. Row 2, column 1, level 1. VMware network adapter VNet 1 friendly name column 2, level 1. Column 3, level 1.
Yeah, so every tree item has 3 columns, and I'm thinking that might be what's throwing it off. I don't think you're necessarily meant to be doing that semantically, but again, this is not a Qt wizard, don't know. Clearly, though, like the screen reader isn't aware of what these rows are doing and what they're for. So they're going to need some explicit labeling, it looks like. If we start tabbing around, let's see what else we can find here.
Users guide, wiki, questions and answers, mailing list, Shark Fest, Wireshark, Discord, donate.
Okay, so all of these are smushed into like one tabbable. Actually, that's wrong. I shouldn't say that way. These are smushed into one sort of labeled region where all the parts of the thing are the sum of the parts in the label. Because you can tap through these, you just don't have focus when you do. If we do this, we'll tab. See, screen reader says nothing now because it is going through these, but it doesn't consider these to be different things, it looks like.
The Wireshark network app.
So you got like 8 or 9 tap stops here that don't read. That is, I'm not sure what's going on there. That's likely some kind of custom queue object that just isn't properly like setting roles and setting states. So you're not really sure why that's happening, but this should be relatively simple to fix with the Qt. What is it? Not the Qt Quick, the other one, the Qt widget accessibility APIs and objects that you do have access to. There is good documentation on at least version 5.15. I know that probably this is using a later version of Qt, but it should still be relevant. Again, I'm going to be guessing like very friendly that friendly. Is that a word? It is now. I'm going to naively and friendlily assume that it's not been updated, or at least it's not been updated visibly, because it just hasn't changed. But I don't know. Let's keep going. What else can we do here?
Users guide, wiki, questions and answers.
Yeah, we saw that bit. Okay, so the next thing is...
Display filter toolbar. Display filter selector combo box collapse. Select from previously used filters. Display filter entry. Apply a display filter. Less CTRL/greater.
So this is honestly pretty good. We have a proper label for the combo box. It tells me what this is for. If I had display filters, I could pick them here. Sadly, I don't currently, so I can't test if the autocomplete or the filter logic works okay, but I'm assuming it'll at least be somewhat usable. There's also a hotkey listed here on how to get here quickly. Keep that in mind. That's going to come back soon. Let's keep going. Tab.
Manage saved bookmarks.
We got a managed saved bookmarks button. Has a dot at the end. I always find that amusing.
Apply display filter.
You can apply display filter button. Not really sure what that does. I'd assume you could just press enter. But I'm guessing this is like an explicit button. You can click for that.
The Wireshark network analyzer. Capture filter selector combo box collapsed. Capture filter entry. Enter a capture filter.
Okay, so this is a capture filter. And this is a display filter. Okay, so there's two different filters. This one does not have a keyboard shortcut to get there quickly. Oh, hi! Clicks are buttons, yeah. Clicks are buttons, Crescent says. Welcome in, by the way.
The Wireshark network analyzer capture.
And the ding is a little...
The Wireshark network analyzer display filter toolbar.
I think those are windows. You'll see a lot of windows and panes in Qt, so that ding is going to go off and off a lot. Doesn't really mean much. It's just a lot of Qts when things are considered windows by screen readers because Qt's accessibility mapping to UIA is imperfect. It does work, but it's a little eh. Let's keep going.
Manage saved bookmarks.
Manage saved bookmarks. We have another one here.
The Wireshark network analyzer. Manage saved bookmarks.
So we got two buttons that read the same. That is generally discouraged. You usually want to be more explicit about what kind of bookmarks. In this case, I guess you could have display bookmarks and what's the other thing? Capture bookmarks, maybe. And that has to do with the lack of spatial information screen readers provide. There is no spatial anything in this. So unless you're going to group elements, which hasn't been done here, you're not going to know what button belongs to what if you just go by button. You don't have the context. As you can see, we're only seeing the interactables, not the text in between them. So you're going to want to maybe have that label be a bit more specific. Let's keep going here.
Manage save book. All interfaces shown.
All interfaces shown. Let's press that button. It doesn't really tell me what it does. Okay.
Preview level 1.
Nothing. All right.
All interfaces shown.
I'm not really sure what that button is meant to do. Let's click it with
all
the
interfaces
mouse.
left
Does
click.
that do anything? No.
Preview level.
Might be a checkbox that we're not seeing the state of, in which case we have a state error here. Or it could be a what else could it be? A filter that's not filtering. It could be a drop down that's not drop downing, or at least not according to screen readers. And that's the full tour of the screen. If we go back here to this label, to this tree view, except it's not really though, because there is a whole entire main toolbar that we skipped that you don't seem to be able to tap to. Can we F6 there? No, we cannot. So if we now take a look with object navigation, let's go to the full top.
No previous.
This
No
is
previous. All
a
interface.
considered screen reader advanced topic. Many people, particularly students who have to do this in college, will not know you can do this or will not care you can do this. A lot of people just don't want to learn this stuff. There is a debate to be had about does that mean that if they don't want to use a feature in a screen reader that the tool in question is accessible? That is a interesting question. I'd say when we do general accessibility, we're working towards the lowest common denominator, in which case that's just the person tabbing around. Screen reader users, provided they know the advanced tricks, can cheat, but keyboard only users can actually not do that. So that's also a reason why not being able to get here with the keyboard cursor is a bit of an issue. Screen readers can cheat provided they know how to, but a lot of other people will not be able to do that. So let's actually have a look at what we're missing here. There's a bunch of different things.
Welcome to Wireshark.
That's not ever read.
System collapsed.
You don't ever get the welcome. That's kind of sad.
Well, capture less HTML greater less head slash greater less body greater less p greater capture live packets from your network dot less slash p greater less slash body greater less slash HTML greater.
That happened. Guessing this is a QML problem. Qt uses HTML for a number of things. Sometimes these tags end up in the screen reader representation. Again, that's one of those Qt things that's over my head. I don't really know why that happens and how you would stop it from happening. I guess you'd have to sanitize the tags out of whatever the screen reader is getting. You can set an explicit accessibility label for things, so that might be a thing to do here where you you take the output that's actually there and then just strip it of the HTML tags using a regular expression. That could be a way to do it. Shouldn't be super hard to implement. You'd want to do the same thing for like translations and things of that nature. So this is not necessarily super hard to do, I don't think. Let's keep going through the accessibility tree.
Using this filter.
Using what filter?
Capture filter selector combo box collapse down.
Okay, so we're also seeing that the tab order is a little strange. Actually,
use cap welcome to wire system
the
collapse.
first thing in the tab order is
using this filter.
Using this filter.
Capture filter
That's
selector
the capture filter selector that we looked at before. That's not where the focus starts. The focus starts in the interface list, which we'll see in a little bit, I think. But if this is what we first see, like visually, if that's in the top left corner, for example, you generally want to have focus start there. I'm not really sure if there is a logical reason for it to start in this list instead. I'm guessing it makes sense from a task point of view, because usually the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you have the right interfaces going. So that's not necessarily a problem. It's just an anomaly, I'd say. Let's keep going.
Row 18 level.
Balls.
No selection. All interface. No preview. Well capped using this filter. Capped all interfaces shown.
Here's that button, the all interfaces show button. I'm honestly not sure what that button does.
Tree view.
And here's our list. The tree view is not labeled. You can provide labels for these kinds of composite elements in order to tell the user what this is a list of. I just sort of have to guess from just looking at the rows in the accessibility tree to see what kind of things we have in here. And we see it's a 3-column layout with the name of various network devices on my computer in the middle. I'm not really sure what the left and rightmost column do. I'm assuming one of them is either a checkbox or a on-off switch of some kind, and maybe the third one is like an indicator that yes, indeed, it is currently going, or maybe like some kind of indicator of how much data has been captured on that particular device. I don't know. That is not labeled, therefore I cannot get at that information. I'm guessing here. Okay, so we got the tree view.
Learn.
We gotta learn. That's that big
User's guide,
block of things that we see here: the user guide, wiki, questions and answers, mailing list, share, Sharkfest, Wireshark, Discord, donate. So
no objects inside.
This is, according to NVDA as well, one big blob of an object, a blobject. Look at this go. And you'd actually have to use even more tricky navigation to.
You are running Wireshark users guide.
To get at individual things in this thing. I can probably do
right,
it
line
by
feed. No objects inside users guide. S E. Users guide wiki question left click. Users guide wiki questions and.
I just clicked the thing. Actually, not even sure if it worked.
You are running Wireshark 4.
Then we have you are running Wireshark 4.4.5. 445 dash a whole like entire version number. You receive automatic updates. Well, that's good to know. That's always good to have at a glance. Except I had to go look for this, so. Again, that's a tricky one because that's not an interactable. You're not supposed to be able to tap to that kind of information. And I don't know to what degree Qt supports things like dialogue descriptions and things of that nature, because that's really what you'd want here. Sometimes I don't have the answers either. Sometimes it's just, this is just how it is. This is not essential information to have. It's good to know that that's there, but like you can use the application without knowing this. Obviously, we haven't done anything impressive yet. We haven't even opened any packages or whatever. So this is just the zero state, like easiest version of this program. I'm just gonna see what we're already seeing now, and that might just get exacerbated when we actually start doing stuff. So let's keep going here.
Menu bar.
There's a menu bar that does come up with Alt. It follows Windows convention, so that's good.
Main toolbar.
Here's the main toolbar I was talking about, which has some pretty important things on it, like
start capturing packets.
Start capturing packets, which is kind of important if you're going to want to be doing that. Again, there is no mention of a hotkey in this label. There is one. It's Control-E if you're curious. And I had to look that up. So keyboard users can get to this functionality provided they know the right hotkey, but they would not be able to get the cursor here, I don't think. Unless there's some kind of hotkey that I'm not aware of to get here physically. Let's keep going. What else is on this toolbar?
Stop unavailable. Stop capturing packets.
Obviously, that's grayed out because we are not capturing at this point. It is interesting that this is a checkbox, so you think that if you just click it again, it'll just turn it off again. I'm not really sure why we need an explicit button to do that as well, but that might be a mouse thing, maybe just an easier target to click. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that sense.
Restart unavailable. Restart current capture.
You can restart. Again, that's not working either because we have nothing to capture yet.
Options, capture options.
Options for capture. That's also in the capture menu in the toolbar, so there is that.
Open a capture file.
You can open a PCAP, which I was trying to get from TryHackMe, but I failed because they're all locked in their little proprietary VM things.
Save unavailable. Save this capture file.
You can save it.
Close unavailable. Code reload unavailable. Find packet. Previous packet unavailable. Go next. Go to first packet unavailable. Last. Zoom. No resize columns unavailable. Resize. No next.
Yeah, but all this stuff is not immediately visible. It's right there. It's tauntingly in the middle of the screen for people to click on. But if you don't have a mouse or don't use a mouse or you don't prefer to use one for whatever reason, you cannot get at this toolbar. That I know of. If anyone wants to correct me on that, that's fine. But that alone, I could see how some people would like draw the conclusion that this is not usable. It is kinda. You just need to know all the tricks. You need to know the hotkeys. You need to know that tree view, if you're a screen user, that is your list of devices, because it's not going to tell you that. A lot of contextual labeling missing here. Let's see what else we have next to the toolbar. I think we're almost done.
Status bar.
That's the status bar.
Profile,
it
default.
says that we are on the default
No
profile, and there's no packets right now.
Unavailable. Open the capture file properties dialog.
There is a grayed out button for the capture file properties. Not really sure why that would be here, but
ready to load or capture. Thumb control.
And we just get a state of readiness.
Stat display filter toolbar.
Then we get the display filter, at least in the accessibility tree.
No next.
So it's a very different order from what we saw with the tabbing. The display is after the list and then before the capture filter. But if you start at the capture filter, actually it does make sense. If you start at the capture filter, then the tree view, then the display filter, you kind of get the right order. So it's interesting that it's sort of shifted by one thing to the right almost. Just for giggles, let's see if we can capture some packets here. Control E, that's what I said. Oh.
Error. Both.
Error. The Wireshark network analyzer. Error. Both ETL file and params arguments are empty.
The Wireshark.
Oh yeah, Shark's done it. I have no idea what that means. Let's
Manage. Display user's guide.
So from just this, we can already see there is a couple of interesting things going wrong here. Can we right-click any of these in the list? We cannot.
Wireshark. Okay. Start capture.
Oh wait, we can.
Hide interface not checked. Start capture.
Let's start capturing from a thing that I know is getting some traffic. So
no objects. Event tracing for Windows. ET column 1 level 1. Row 17 open. VPN. Windows friendly. Row 1.
Top. There will be like an Ethernet one.
Row 2 left. VMware network adapter. Row 3. Ethernet 2 friendly name column 2 level 1.
This is Ethernet, so this should work, shouldn't it? Let's try it. Start capturing.
Wireshark. Start capturing from Ethernet 2. Preview unavailable. Display filter toolbar. Display filter selector combo box collapsed. Select from previously.
Well, there's probably a bunch of stuff coming in now because we have stuff. Let's stop it. Stop. That'll do. All right. Let's see what's the status bar shows us now. We got.
Packet thumb control menu bar main tool status bar profile default no object packets 2 dropped 0.0%.
We got 2 dropped packets and a couple of other things. So obviously this is not a huge amount of packets. I should not get those confused for different things. But we have a couple of packets to look at. I'm doing this very sort of bite-sized. I don't want to get too much on my screen all at once because I want to be able to see what happens with this UI as we put new stuff in it.
Star Ethernet.
So let's see what's changed.
Packet display manage saved bookmarks. Packet list display status bar open. Warning is the highest export. Packet types grouping frame display filter toolbar tool manage saved bookmarks. Packet details preview frame.
Interesting.
Packet list preview one collect. Display filter toolbar tool status bar open the capture file properties dialog. We
can now tap to the status bar. The status bar now has that open the capture file properties button is no longer grayed out, so that's tabbable now. I'm a big fan of making sure that grayed out buttons are still tabbable, so you can see that they're actually there. Otherwise, you may not know that they're there. And maybe giving some kind of tooltip that indicates why you can press it right now, as opposed to just having it not be reachable with the keyboard. That's it's not how the mouse works. You can see, like, it's not how the eyes work, as it were. You can still see it. It's just grayed out. So I'd say make that experience universal for everyone. But hey, that's me. Oh dear.
Wireshark. Open the capture file. Star Ethernet display. Status star. Warning is the highest export information level.
Okay. So
Packets 2 dropped. 0 file. With no previous pack. Warning is the highest export information level.
So we have a button that says warning, and it says it's the highest expert information level. I don't know what that means either, but I'm sure we'll find out as we keep going here.
Packet bytes grouping frame 80.
So the interesting thing here is that there's a couple of changes. We no longer see our list of interfaces. That's gone. Adding an ARIA label for a disabled button helps. I would do an ARIA described by. Based on, like, if there is a tooltip on the screen already, you could do an ARIA described by that div or that ID. And it'll say like so-and-so unavailable button, and then it'll read the audio described by, yeah, there you go. The ARIA described by as you land on it after the role name. So you get submit unavailable button, you didn't fill in your username, how dare you, you're a bad person. Basically, you could just stick that there. So there's that. Hey, I see Noel, how you doing? Like I said, the interface list is gone.
Open the capture file drop
order.
Wireshark Ethernet 2AGEK42.
I don't know where that went. So that's really interesting.
Thumb control.
Let's see if we can get
Status
it
bar.
back.
Main toolbar. Menu bar. Thumb control. Packet list preview. Packet
So
list.
now we have a packet list. We'll get to that in a second.
Thumb control.
And depending on what you select in the packet list, you get the details of that specific packet. We'll have to see how well that reads, because you obviously will need to be able to look into these things when you're actually like digging into these things. Said these things twice in 1 second.
Packet details preview. Packet details. Packet bytes grouping. System collapse. No previous.
Okay, so yeah, the whole list is gone. I'm sure you can get back somehow. It's probably very obvious if you can see it. I don't see how you would get that list back. I'm assuming you're going to have to close what we have open now and then it comes back or something. But let's have a look at what we have here first. So
open the capture file proper. Display filter toolbar. Packet list preview. 1 collapse.
Here's the packet list. They are just 1 and 2. We have 2 packages here. Packets, not packages.
1 collapse row.
I guess you can see where my mind is today.
2 collapsed rows. 1 collapsed row. 1 level 1.
So this says 1 collapsed. It doesn't appear that the right arrow is opening this. That is a convention for tree view. So that may either be erroneously mentioned, or you have to click them. Let's try clicking them.
1 left click. 1 collapsed row. 1 level 1.
No, I think it just always says collapsed.
No objects. 0.00001 collapsed. No column 1 level 1.
And
info header.
In this case, we have actually a bit of a different situation going on. There is. Okay, actually, this is interesting. So
length protocol destination source head time no header no previous.
We're seeing some more about how tree views with these kinds of, this is more of a table that behaves like a tree view, and we're seeing some of how the accessibility tree is rendering that. So we can see that what's actually happening is the name of the element for screen readers appears to be based off of the leftmost column of the row. So if there's nothing in that column, you get nothing. That's what's happening in the interface list. Here, what we're seeing is the only thing you can see is the number of the packet, even though there's a whole table here. So we only get 1, when there's actually a lot more going on. There is a, let's see what it is. We got a number, we got the time header, we got the source header.
Destination header.
Destination header, protocol header, length header.
Info header.
Info.
1 collapsed level 1. Info length row source time no previous.
And that's it. You got 7 columns here. The leftmost of which is the only thing that's currently being read. So what you'd need to do is concatenate these columns somehow, maybe with commas, or ideally sort of a dictionary format where it's number 1, info header this, protocol header that. So when a user goes over these with the arrow keys, you'd want to make sure that that actually gets read in such a way that you can see them. Because the screen reader can only see one thing at a time. In this case, a representation of one thing at a time, which is the leftmost column of these rows. That should be fixable. Just provided you can provide your own string, as opposed to just whatever Qt does by default, which I'm pretty sure you can do. You'd have to dig into how that works exactly, but it's doable. In this first package, for example, what we see is that it's packet number 1.
Length info header 1 collapse 0.00000 collapse time column 2 level 1.
The time is apparently 0.0. 192.168.56.56.01 is the See, this is the issue. Now I have to go find what the third column from the left was
One info length row
again.
test sort time. No,
In this case,
previous.
that was
Time
the
source
header, so that is our computer currently.
Destination header.
Destination,
Row
where is
length
it trying
info
to
1
go?
collapse 0.109 0.00000
It's actually going to itself, so it's
One
going
collapse.
to all interface.
01200.
Oh, my bad. It's going to 224.00251. I'm actually not sure what that is. 224.00251 looks to be like some kind of IP for somewhere. It's an MDNS thing.
87.
And it has
Standard query 0x0000 PTR Spotify connect.tcp.local QM question collapsed info column 7 level 1.
Okay, there you go. So
Two
it's
collapsed row
apparently
2.
some kind of Spotify thing.
0.80 colon
And here's
colon 3
another
E4
one. This
colon.
is an IPv6 number, it looks like. We got an IPv6 IP that we're going to.
0.
No, that we're coming from, actually. And it's happening 648 milliseconds after the first packet. It's going to FFO2 colon F2, which I'm not really sure what that is.
MDN.
That's another IP address. Maybe the same one, it's just an IPv6 sex format. Oh yeah, ooh la la, ooh la la. Sex format.
100.
107 on that, and it's also a standard query TTX Spotify connect.tcp log. Yeah, so it's Spotify trying to talk to something basically. So yeah, we're not gonna like dig into these too much, but I'm actually kind of curious what that's trying to do. It's probably like it looks like it didn't get anywhere because it was dropped. So these packages didn't actually reach their intended destination. Not entirely sure why that would be, but we're now seeing that there's a lot of information that's missing when you just go up and down with the arrow keys. You need to be able to use your screen readers. Take a bit more of a look-see features. In JAWS, that would be the JAWS cursor, although I'm not sure how well that would work in this case. In NVDA, it's the object navigator. Probably you can do the screen review. Let's try that. Can you do the screen review here?
Top standard query 0x0000 packet list preview bottom packet list top packet list.
That does not look like it would work. So you'd have to use the object navigator in this case, which is again an advanced feature. NVDA can do it, but the experience is not great. It's actually kind of disjointed and it takes longer than it should. So in that sense, this is something that they can clean up to make it better. And it looks like it's just something that happens to all tree view widgets in the application. Something is happening with these tree view elements that look to be more like table rows, where only the leftmost column is being screen readerized, as it were. So, like I said, the fix for that is concatenating all the tables, all the things in that row, putting the table headers in front of the concatenated results, and then just having that be the label for the individual rows. That would fix this relatively well. Let's have a look at that first packet.
Packet detail.
Tab over to the packet details. We got a frame 1, 87 bytes on wire, 696 bits, 87 bytes captured on interface. Okay, fair enough. Interface device NPF, whole thing, device name, which should be our Ethernet thing. So again, these read as collapsed.
Intersect frame.
They're not collapsed, but that's what it reads as. Let's have a look at the columns that we have access to in this particular
packet detail,
case.
packet bytes grouping. Packet to frame 1, 87 bytes on section number 1, row 2, level 1.
Okay, so these don't have columns. These are just rows, and therefore they work fine because there is only one value to read, which is what you're meant to be doing in this particular semantic element, which is a tree view. So we got section number 1, interface ID 0, and a whole device as specifier. Encapsulation type is Ethernet 1. You get all this stuff. Arrival time, April 24, blah, 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 blah. You get all this information that you can use to look at this particular specific package. And this looks fine, honestly. Like, if we look at the second packet real quick, let's go to the second packet to see a couple of other things. This is number 2. It looks like it keeps you in the same place of the packet detail list. I actually kind of like that. So you can really quickly compare the value of one packet against the same value of another packet. I appreciate it not moving. There might be people who'd like to start at the top when that happens, but a simple home would do that. So I'm not a huge like naysayer of that happening. That's actually pretty good. Appreciate that being a thing. Let's see what else we got. So in this case, for example, if we look at the interface, what is it? The what's different in this thing? For example, what we can see is that the for the time delta from the previous captured frame is like 648 seconds, like 0.0000648 seconds. You can see that that's being kept track of in this sort of conversation, as it would were. Like, I guess if we had stuff coming in on the other side, we could look at these packages one by one and then have that be a thing you could do. And then there's a bunch of other things you can do for this. So you have a couple of frames, you got the frame length, you got the capture length, all that stuff is right here. So you can read this. Let's keep going through the tab things here. You got the bytes. I'm honestly not really sure if that's accessible and if it would work. Let's have a look. We're looking at a frame right now. There's a tab control.
Speech mode, display filter.
Let's see.
Apply display filter.
Tab once.
Packet bytes grouping. Frame 107 bytes. Tab control. Frame 107 bytes. Tab selected. Display filter toolbar tool. Apply display filter.
Oh, okay, so
Packet bytes group.
it says it's a tab control. You can actually not use the arrow keys to move in this control. Or there might just be only one tab. Hard to say. Okay, and if we tap through this, now we're stuck.
Display filter.
You cannot tap past this, it looks
No
like.
objects inside.
Let's have a look with the...
No next. No previous. No next. Frame 107. No next. No objects inside. Frame 107 bytes. Grouping. No objects since no previous. No next. Packet details preview. Packet thumb control. Packet thumb control. Menu bar.
Okay, so it looks like that part, the bytes grouping, whatever that really does, that appears to be outright unreadable currently. You can also not tab into it properly, so that's broken. So far so good. So far so good. Let's keep going with maybe a couple of like more targeted things that tutorials tell us to do. For that, I'd like to can I somehow close this capture and just go back to like a standard? Let's see. Looking at the menu for file now. File set, save. Close. Okay, close. There we go. Ethernet. Your capture packets will be lost if you don't save them. Yeah, I know. That's fine. Continue without saving. Yup. Now we're back here. Okay, so this is the initial... Okay, we gotta start somewhere, and this is the thing. It, amusingly, did drop us in the... What did it drop us in? Yeah, this thing. The display filter this time, not the list. I'm not really sure what happened there. That's kind of interesting. All right, so that is so far. What do I think of the accessibility of Wireshark? It's probably not as efficient as it could be for some things. Like I'm sure there is like, obviously when you're looking at this, you want to go through these packets quick because there's a frick ton of information that comes in at you when you do an actual proper engagement. It appears that if, you know, I don't know how to work the capture filters or the display filters, but it does appear that those parts are accessible. We're actually going to be looking into that in a second here. So far, most things appear to be reachable, if not ideally placed. So in that sense, what I'd say is that it works. Some things could just be polished. Like, I would not necessarily call this application entirely inaccessible so far. Like, it's a little rough around the edges for sure. And it definitely needs to be fixed because what I'm doing here, a lot of things that I'm doing are considered a little extensive, a little exaggerated for just doing what we're doing so far. You shouldn't need to do the things I'm doing. That's really what I'm saying. So in that sense, do they need to fix it? Absolutely. Can you use it until they do? Yeah, with a bit of elbow grease. So I hope that me doing this here shows some people how that would work, how you'd get it to behave. Let me grab an article from the folks over at Unit 42 because they have a couple of interesting Wireshark tutorials, and I just want to go through one of the tutorials to see if we can make it work in the way that we're doing it. For example, let's see. I think there is a tutorial about like doing these display filters and changing the column order. I want to play with that to see how that would influence the thing. The interesting thing about the suggestion I suggested regarding like concatenating the columns is that you do need to keep that into consideration as well. You need to make sure that when the user changes the order of these things, that concatenation needs to be redone as well to fit the new order, because obviously those columns might want to be reordered by people who use this screen reader as well, which should still be pretty easy. You just do it in place at runtime. You just take an array of the current column order, as it were, and then you just, instead of printing to the things like we're doing now, you just concatenate them, put them in the accessibility label. So it's all doable. It just takes a bit of elbow grease.
Speech graphic 10-minute list with 4 items, list with 1 item Brad Duncan, list with 2 items cybersecurity learning hub,
Right,
list with 3 items Gap, Wireshark tutorial, list with 2 items download icon graphic grid icon graphic share down arrow, a series of tutorials, table with 1 row and 2 columns, row 1 column 2 Gap.
I'm gonna go
a series of speech mode off
tutorials, and I'm pretty sure there was one about, like I said, messing with the view. I want to see, because that's generally a very drag and drop heavy process. I want to see how well that would work with a screen reader. This is exporting objects from a PCAP. We don't really want to do that. My speech is significantly louder than I am. Huh, that is interesting. Okay, well, the first thing we can do, changing your column display. We'll look at that real quick. I will look at the volume. It's easy enough to fix, really. Like, I don't know why my microphone would have been quieter, but the speech is easy enough to volume down a tiny bit. We'll do that for now. Look into why it would be so different at a later date.
Speech mode talk.
That should be more tame. There we go.
Speech mode off.
So let me just quickly read this. It's a 14-minute read. Oh, baba. This is going to be fun. This is 2 years ago, so it shouldn't have changed too much. Let's see. Executive summary. Wireshark is a free protocol analyzer that can record and display packet captures, PGAPs, of network traffic. IT professionals use this tool to investigate a wide range of network issues. Security professionals also use Wireshark to review traffic generated from malware. What makes Wireshark so useful is very customizable. Wireshark's default column display provides a wealth of information, but you should customize the columns to meet your specific needs. This article is the first in a series of Wireshark tutorials that provides customization options helpful for investigating malicious network traffic. It was first published in August 2018 and has been updated in 2023. I know you guys can't see this, that's why I'm reading it out loud, but we'll keep going here and just actually follow along and see when we get stuck here. That's really sort of my end goal for this particular thing. I want to take a tutorial that was not written for accessibility in mind, and I just want to see, can you, given the look we just took at this application, can we make it so we can figure out what to press where and how to get it working? Requirements. It says we recommend using a non-Windows environment. Well, too bad for that. BSD, Unix, or macOS. PCAPs from Windows infections may contain malicious binaries that present a risk of infection when using Wireshark on a Windows computer. For this tutorial, we use the Ubuntu Linux distro, Xubuntu. If possible, review PCAP using the most recent version of Wireshark for your environment. Recent versions have more features, capabilities, and bug fixes than older versions. Well, the versions of Wireshark that we have currently is version 4.4.5, which by their own logic supersedes all the other versions they've done so far. And I grabbed that this afternoon, so I'm pretty sure they haven't made a huge update since then, but I could of course be wrong. Let's have a look. We recommend at least version 3.6.2 or later. I got 4.4.5, so we are good. In this tutorial, we use Wireshark version 4.0.7. Very good. Wireshark user must have a basic understanding of network traffic, and this series of tutorials focuses on IPv4 traffic. Okay. The term basic understanding means different things to different people, but the knowledge does not have to be extensive. Good, because my networking is a tiny bit rough. Like, I do want to do some CompTIA exams at some point, but not yet. That's a whole entire different conversation. Something about certifications and accessibility, and it's a mess. But, okay. For example, readers should know the difference between a public IPv4 address and an internal, non-routable IPv4 address. Basic network knowledge includes recognizing TCP and UDP traffic and knowing about DNS. Readers should also have some idea of network traffic is routed between an internal client like a desktop computer and an external server like a website. Ultimately, this series of tutorials assumes readers have some sort of background and interest in reviewing malicious network traffic. Well, that's cool for right now. Right now, I think we're okay. I'm going to speed through this a little bit faster. There is a PCAP for this tutorial is hosted at our GitHub repository. Download the PCAP as shown below in figure 1. Okay, well, we're not looking at these guys' stuff accessibility wise, but I will see if I can quickly grab that PCAP because it will actually give us something to play with. It took me to where, like, okay, yeah, this is great. Can I download this? Easy. Yes, download. Okay, let's open this up. Okay, it's not letting me download it. Why not? GitHub.
Speed raw file content. Copy path raw file content grouping. Download CTRL Shift SD1 of 9.
Yeah, come on.
Main landmark clickable more file action. Where now? View raw. Sorry about that, but we can't show files that are this big right now. View out of region menu button. Collapsed sub menu. More edit options. Edit file. Download raw content. Copy raw content. Downloading Wireshark tutorial column setup.cap.zip 2.8.
Thank you.
Speech mode
Okay,
off.
beautiful. So we can open this up now. We have a PCAP to play with. We'll actually put it in our little in our Wireshark, so we have some data to play with. That's good. So we don't have to capture it ourselves. Generally, like, I mean, you can capture your own traffic the way I was just doing it. I don't think that's generally what you do most of the time. Mostly you look at like captures that have already been performed. So I'd rather do that right now to simulate a proper engagement. Let's just call this PCAP. Put it in here. And we'll, oh, that's a big one.
Speech 0%. Pause the operate. Cancel tile 02. Name. Wireshark tutorial column setup.cap.c. Time remaining. Calculating. Items remaining. 1. 3.12 MB.
The hell?
Next.
Windows, are you drunk?
Contact us. GitHub 0. Speech mode off.
Very strange. In any case, let's continue reading for now. We'll figure this out as it goes. Download the PCAP, we did. Yeah, so the figure is an image of a screenshot of Unit 42 Wireshark tutorials GitHub. A black arrow indicates the icon to download a file, which in this case is the tutorial for the column setup. A second black arrow points to the save button of the pop-up window of downloading the zip file. This is a really good screenshot alt text. I was looking for like a good archive for this, and I was actually like sort of blown away by how good this alt text is. If that is actually correct, like this almost feels like an AI generated one, and if it is, then honestly, pretty good. If it's human made, I'm actually really impressed by how well that works. This took some thinking. Like this actually took some. Someone actually did a bunch of like effort to make sure that this works okay. I'm not sure why this PCAP is not copying. Is it like a Windows Defender thing going on? Let me do this a different way. Let's see. Can I go up? Yep. Can I extract this here? And I just copy that. Let's see. Extract all. Of course, it's OneDrive. It's always OneDrive when this goes bad. Like I know that's really supposed to be like a super good system or anything, but it's just always a mess with this kind of stuff. Extract. Let's do it. See if that works better. Oh, it's a pass. Does it have a password? Huh. I think there might actually be a password on this now. I'm thinking about it. And I think Windows is just really bad at showing that. Let's have a look. Does it say? The name of your downloaded zip archive should be blah 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 blah. Use infected as the password to unlock the zip file. That's the issue. Okay, so it's not loving the fact that we're trying to just copy paste from this. And it's also not letting me cancel this for some reason. Give me a second here. Well, oh, okay, there's a password prompt. There you go. Infected. Hey, look, it worked. Okay. Now we can actually put this on the screen. Give me just a moment here. Oops. Where's Wireshark gone? There. Just, uh-oh. Wireshark is downloading from Florian Personal. Yeah, it should not be doing that. So here's the file that I just grabbed. Oh boy, oh boy.
Speech. Files preview. Windows C. Collapsed level 1. New volume. File. File name. Alt. Combo box. All capture. Open enter. Help enter.
Okay, this is like its
Combo
own
box
little QT thing. That's beautiful.
Wireshark open capture file lookin. Read filter. Wireshark open capture file lookin. Read filter. Combo. Back go back. List view change to list view mode. Detail view change. List view.
I think I actually want this.
Sidebar list of files list files. Q5 not selected. Files preview. Disks collapsed row 2 level 1.
Okay, so I guess we do it this way.
Files list files. Public collapse. Files list files. Files preview. Flory collapsed row. Files list files. Files preview. Android collapsed level 1.
Bcap.
Files list files. Files preview. Cap.zip collapsed row 1 level 1.
Oh, did I not?
Combo box all capture file.
I was under the impression that we, hang on.
See, users Flory cap, file explorer.
Yeah, no, we just copied it. We didn't actually extract it. Okay, hang on. I'll
open command prompt speech mode.
Turn this off for a second here. 7. I'll just do it as 7-zip. I actually trust 7-zip more than this. What? Oh, did I give it the wrong? I gave it the wrong thing, didn't I? Yeah, there's just a folder in that. That's work. Okay, that's fine then. We'll just, yeah, that's fine. Open that up, and here's the file. Open. There it goes.
Speed. 1 collapsed level 1. 2 collapsed 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 collapsed. We
have a whole bunch of packages here. We have like
86 collapsed
more than 100. We have like 4,065 packages. A lot more than we were playing with before. This is when you start wanting to filter things out. We'll get to that when we do. Let's just first see if we can get that column stuff worked out here. We got this open, so this works well enough. You gotta admit, don't love that homebrew open file dialog. I think the OS-based one is generally what people prefer and what people expect. Like I was like stopping myself from doing some muscle memory actions here a few times because it's just not the same, and I don't think that's necessary. I think the thing is fine. If it looks better, fancy, but whatever. Okay, well we got it working. It's all great. Okay, so now it's gonna tell us how to open it. Yeah, Wireshark version check. Okay, configuration profiles. After confirming your Wireshark version 3.6.2 or newer, select configuration profiles under Wireshark's edit menu. Make a copy of the default configuration profile by clicking the copy button as shown below in figure 5. Okay, let's try that. We go to Wireshark. We go to the edit menu. There's something about configuration profiles. Let's see where that is.
Mark next previous ignore all set slash unset all next time previous time shift packet delete all pack inject discard all configuration profiles CTRL plus shift plus A.
Okay, so you see here the Control-Shift-A would open that window. We'll do that real
Wireshark
quick.
configuration profiles auto switch packet limit the number of packets.
Yeah. Okay,
Bluetooth
so we
row
got a
2
whole
level
bunch
1.
of things happening.
Default row 1 level
Default
1.
is the first thing that's listed. Again, in one of those tree views.
Auto switch filter header. Type header. Profile head no previous.
So again, we only see the profile
header.
name.
Auto switch
In this
default level
case,
1.
default
Default
actually
type.
is the default type.
Auto switch filter column 3 level 1. Default type column 2 level 1. Default profile column 1 level 1.
So
Tree view. US.
Default profile, default type, default all the things. That's perfect. We want that. Let's make a copy of that.
Create a new profile using default settings.
Is that the copy button?
No objects inside. Less HTML greater less head slash greater less body greater less p greater remove this profile. System provided profiles cannot be removed. The default profile will be reset upon deletion. Less slash p greater less slash body greater less slash HTML greater.
Here we see one of those tooltips again that has the HTML code in there. That's generally not preferred, but okay, that's what we're seeing.
Copy this profile.
And there's a copy this profile button. In this case, given we just came from a profile, I might still replace this with the name of the profile. So say copy default profile in this case, but this is less annoying given like we just came from the thing we just used. We picked the one in the list. It makes sense that we're still talking about the same one. Unless you could somehow tab over to the next one, which I don't think you can do as tab.
Wireshark configuration profiles auto switch packet limit the number.
No, it all has to do with this particular one, and you get the OK button after. So we are good. We need to copy this profile, so we'll do that. We've
Wireshark
now
tutorial column
done
setup
it.
packet list tree.
And that closed the window on us. So did it actually work? Let's see.
Wireshark configuration. Bluetooth row 2 level default row 1.
No, I think you meant to press space and not enter on these buttons. A QT oddity.
Import enter.
Let's try it again.
OK, enter. Wireshark. Tree view. Selected default. Copy.
So this now works. We got put in a new version of default with the name. We're again no labels here, but we're just going to assume that this is the name we can change. So we'll call this something else. We'll call this I see no wanderings. I don't know.
I see no wanderings level. Speech mode on.
And we did that instruction. That instruction was accessible to be followed. I see no wanderings is now the default profile. This window is also separate from Wireshark, so I can actually look at these in tandem. That's nice. Tutorial. What do I do next? What am I supposed to do next to see if this is accessible? It says, yeah, we'll copy a new name. In this figure configuration profile, the default is selected and a black arrow. Yeah, but we did that. Okay. After copying the default program, give it a new name. We suggest changing the name to customized, as shown below in figure 6. No, I made it. I see no wanderings. You can just, accept what I just did and have that be good. If this new created profile is still selected when we close the configuration profiles window, any customizations to Wireshark will be stored to this newly created profile. Web traffic and the default malware distribution frequently occurs through web traffic. Data exfiltration and command and control activity can also use web traffic. However, when reviewing such malicious activity, Wireshark's default column options are not ideal. Fortunately, we can customize Wireshark's column display to provide a better view of a web traffic. To view the default layout of Wireshark's, open the PCAP we previously downloaded for this tutorial. The default layout for Wireshark version 4.0.7 is shown below in figure 7. Not really important right now. Yeah. Another window shows the hexadecimal. Okay, so we couldn't see the hexadecimal view of the frame. That seems to be something we cannot currently read. That is probably a problem for some types of analysis, so that would be something that need to fix. You could probably get it at using OCR, like optical character recognition, but honestly, with these kinds of things, it's annoying enough to read regardless. And I wouldn't want to add like the rate of errors you would get from OCR into that process. So if the bytes, the individual hexadecimal values are not visible to screen reader users, that's a problem and it needs to be fixed. Okay, what else we got? Yeah. Examine the current column name, column description. So we got to think at number, time, source, destination, and protocol. And length. This is what we looked at before, remember? This is like the columns we had on our captured Spotify packets as well. So that's the columns that we have. To better examine Windows-based malware traffic, this tutorial customizes Wireshark to use the columns shown below in Table 2. So they add, let's have a look. We have time, source address, source port, destination address, destination port, domain, info. Okay, so we lose a couple of things and we add a couple of other things. And now I'm sure they're going to tell me how to do that. To customize our Wireshark display, we will first change the time column to show the date and time in Universal Coordinated Time, UTC, okay? Changing date and time to UTC. When publicly sharing information about a malware infection, the recipient can be in any part of the world. Due to the different time zones, a standard format for reporting the time of malicious activity is UTC. To change Wireshark's time display format under the View menu, go to Time Display Format and change the value from seconds since beginning of capture to UTC date and time of day. Use the same menu path to change the resolution from automatic to seconds. Okay, we'll do that.
Speech mode talk.
Go to the View menu. Alt V does not work to get to the View menu.
Preview.
That will be because we are in the wrong window. There we go.
Wireshark tutorial column. See
we
user
need to be in here. So now we go to the View menu.
Next tutorial in the series.
Oops.
Wireshark tutorial column. See users floor. Main
Now
toolbar.
we go to the View menu. There you go.
Filter toolbar.
So I think actually part of what I just did with that other window was not visible. Sorry about that. Let's see.
Main tool, reload
we need to find the
CTRL
time
on.
display thing.
Reload as file. Show packet internals. Resize. Reset layout. Colorize. Color in group. Colorize. Collapse. Expand. Collapse. Sub. Expand. Zoom. Collapse. Alt. Name. Resolution.
So me going through these like I am currently, where I'm not letting it finish, is why you generally want the most important thing at the beginning of your phrase. Like if it says option 4 out of 6 and then the thing, I can't scroll like I am doing then. I just have to listen to your whole entire spiel about this is the so manyth option of the so manyth menu of the so manyth day and the so manyth calendar. In which case, that's something we see a lot in sometimes self-voicing applications, video games, things of that nature. Here, I actually kind of like that it's not happening, and generally you don't need to actually do anything. This usually happens fine by default.
Time display format.
Here's the time display
time
format.
Of day,
it says we should change it to UTC.
Year, day of year, time of seconds since night, seconds since first, seconds, UTC, date and time of day, 1970.
Control Alt 7 will actually do that if you use the hotkeys. So let's press
Packet
that
list
first.
preview, 1 collapsed level 1.
Now we go back into this thing.
Main toolbar, filter, stat, full, pack, time, name, res, time, display format, menu.
And there should be something for resolution.
Display seconds with hours and
Where
minutes
is
not
that?
checked. Nanoseconds not checked. Hundredths of tenths of microsecond. Hundredths of tenths of a millisecond. Hundredths of tenths of a seconds not checked. Automatic from capture file. UTC, time of day, automatic from capture file.
So amusingly, this doesn't say
Separator
that we're
unavailable.
looking at
UTC, time
resolution.
separator
We
automatic
sort of
from
have to
capture
just
file.
figure that out from context. In this case, we want
Seconds
to
not
set
checked.
this to seconds.
Tenths of a second not checked. Seconds not packet list preview.
So we did what the thing
Packet
says. So if we now look
Packet list preview 2 collapsed row 2 level 1.
at packet number
2020.
2, we can see that it was dropped at 230807 185658. Very cool. All right, that's done. Now we need to change some other things. Let's keep going through this tutorial. I did it bad and did this wrong, so let me quickly get the right spot again. Yeah. Figure 8 shows the menu paths for these options. All right, blah, blah, blah. We did this bit already. When finished, the column display shows the UTC date and time as noted below in figure 9. Now, when we review a PCAP, we immediately know the date and time of the network traffic. Data can be helpful sometimes. Our next step in customizing Wireshark is to remove columns we do not need for our day-to-day work. Removing columns. The number, protocol, and length columns are not necessary when reviewing web-based traffic, so we suggest removing them. To remove these columns, right-click on the column header and select Remove this column from the menu as shown in figure 10. That's going to be a fun one. Let's have a look. So it says right-click, and you have to right-click a very specific thing. Normally, what you do is you would have some kind of menu where you can tick these off and on. It looks like in this particular case, we don't have that option. So this is impossible to do. It looks like this is impossible to do for keyboard only users. Maybe you can do this with a display filter. That's beyond my ken, but right now it doesn't look like the default ways of doing things offers a way for keyboard only users to do this. That's bad. And that is something that should probably be fixed. Screen reader users can cheat. Let's see if we actually can make it work. We can cheat again by using object navigation and mouse emulation, which is another advanced technique. So let's see.
Header, length header, protocol header.
This is the protocol header. We can move our mouse there and then try to right-click it.
Wireshark, align left not checked.
Now we have options for hopefully this column. We can align it. We can column preferences. We can
resize the content. Resize column. Resolve names. No number. time. Format is specified. Source address.
Oh wait, look at this.
Destination address.
It looks like... Okay, it looks like we're good. It looks like we're good, actually. If you just somehow manage to right-click the header in general, you can tick these off and on. That is a little bit better. I don't think you can trigger... Actually, let's try that. Can you, if you just don't select anything?
Display filter toolbar. Packet details. Packet list preview. 1 collapsed row 1 no column. 1 collapsed level 1.
No.
No op 2020 for 0.0.0.0.1.
That doesn't seem to open the right menu.
Display filter tool. Packet list preview. 1 collapsed level 1.
No, it does look like you have to use the
packet list
mouse
preview, packet list.
on the header.
No header,
so that
header.
is a
source
problem.
Destination head protocol length header. Right click. Wire align center not checked.
For screen users again, you can sort of cheat. It is a little interesting that I can actually see a bunch of columns here. I can just untick them. But there is also an explicit remove this column button. I'm not really sure. Again, it seems like sometimes the program just has multiple ways to do the same thing. Not really sure if one's better than the other or just somehow better. Let me see. Did we remove the right thing?
Speech mode info header protocol header destination source header time header no header time source protocol info header 1
yeah. So we got rid of length. Let's do protocol next.
Right click. Info remove this column. Wireshark tutorial 21 collapse info head destination source header. Time header, no header.
So now we have time
header, no header.
And
time
number,
header,
time,
destination
source,
header.
and destination. So which ones were you supposed
Wireshark
to remove?
tutorial. Wireshark to suggest removing them. To remove the no dot protocol and length columns are not necessary when reviewing web-based traffic.
The number, protocol, and header, and length. So if I remove the number column, let's actually test the theory here.
Info destination source time header, no header. No previous.
If I remove the number column here, if I right-click this and remove it, what we're going to see happen is that the screen reader is very likely going to now just read the date to us because that number column is gone.
2023-08-07-18.
And that's exactly what happened. So you could actually do a bit of a sort of a ring-a-rosy approach here, where you take a column and put that as the leftmost column. I'm not sure if you can drag these around, but you could then have that be the only thing that's read. It's very clunky to do it that way, but you could, in theory, just go down the list and only get one column read. And you can decide what column that is by creatively removing and then re-adding them. Obviously, please don't take that as an endorsement. Please actually fix this. But it is kind of amusing that you can actually do that now. So that's the thing we just found out. It does always read the leftmost column, and it keeps user preference in mind. It's not accessibility hard code. It keeps track of the actual representation of the columns in the tree as users screw with the column order. So that's good. That's good. We've removed the columns like they said we should. Now we have to add other ones back. Let's see if we can figure out how that was done. Yeah, okay, we did it. By clicking on this column, you can select remove this column, or at the very bottom is indicated by another black area. That's what we did. Okay. Your updated column display should now show only 4 columns: time, source, destination, and info. That's what it's doing, yeah. I really like these tutorials. These are really written very accessibly. I wonder if that's just this guy thing or the entire website thing. I'll have to dig more into them. Unit 42, mad props for what you're doing here. Seriously, good work. After removing the unnecessary columns, we are ready to add new columns to our Wireshark display. Adding columns, how do we do that? We can add columns using the column preferences window. To open this window, right-click on any of the column headers, then select column preferences in the resulting menu as shown below in figure 12. Okay, I think we saw that option, so let's see if we can find it again.
Speech mode.
We up
Packet list
from the
preview,
current
packet list,
line we're
packet
on,
list.
we go to the left to find the header.
Thumb control. Packet to thumb packet list tree time header.
Oh, too fast, sorry.
Source header.
We right click on the source header because it doesn't matter which one you pick here. We should be able to find the
align center, align right, column preferences.
Column preferences option here. Again, I don't think you can do this from the keyboard, so that's a problem. Screen readers can cheat.
Wireshark tutorial column setup.cap packet list preview. Wireshark preferences preview. Wireshark preferences packet list preview. Wireshark preferences preview columns row 2 1 column 1 level 1.
Oh dear. Okay, so we are now in the columns. Can we tab around
Preview,
level?
level
See what
1.
we got here? Oh dear.
Time title column 2 level 1. Time format is specified. Type column 3 level 1. Fields column 4 level 1. Field occurrence column 5 resolved column 6 level 1.
Oh, I see.
Row 2 displayed column 1 level 1. Row 3 level 1. Row 2 level 1. Row 1 level.
Okay, so that chirp sound we're hearing is a checkbox checked that's being found. Right now we have that same exact issue where only the leftmost column is red. The leftmost column in this particular case is a checkbox indicating it's on. So
New notification from
we don't need to know what that is. That's a big notification. Piastri finds lies. I don't even care. It sounds like it's a Formula One thing, I think. Anyway, what I'm saying is that we now need to check the right boxes. Let's see what we're supposed to check.
Busy, clickable, close.
Shush. Okay, gonna turn my speech off for a second because I'm gonna get a flood of notifications here in a second. This brings up the column preferences window, which lists all of the Wireshark's columns, viewed or hidden. Near the bottom left side of the column preferences window are two buttons. One is labeled with a plus sign to add columns, the other has a minus to remove columns. A left click on the plus sign as shown below in 13. Okay, let's find if we can find the plus sign. Yeah, it's called add a new column for accessibility. That's good. This has a accessibility label that indicates what this is for. And it's also not just add, it's add a new column. So good job here on the specificity of the label. Let's press it. Oh, right, space, not enter. Hang on.
Speech, DHCP 200 with 0.0.020 info test source header, time header. Right click, align column preferences, wire, tree, delete selected, add a new column.
We added the new column. Nothing was announced when we pressed that button. Let's see what else we're supposed to do. Generally, you want to make sure that there's some kind of indicator for screen readers. This is actually kind of hard to do in Qt, I think, but there is, I think, ways to fire some kind of like message that gets picked up by AT, by assistive technology. If you can't, what you can do is do the same thing as you do for the copied profile. Where you just put the cursor on that line where the new thing is. I'm not actually sure what's happened. A new entry with the title new column should appear at the bottom of the list. Yeah, so put the cursor there so someone knows what's happened. Double click on the title to change the column name as shown below. Oh dear. Okay, so let's try that. I don't think that's gonna work. Is this the new thing?
Time title column displayed column 1 level 1. Time format is specified field occurrence row 5 displayed column 1. New column title column 2 level 1.
No, so this was not it didn't move the cursor at all. I have to go find it myself. I don't think if I press enter on this, I think it's going to dismiss the window. Yes, it did. Okay, so double clicking the column here does not appear to work. However, there might be an edit button where you can change the name. Let's try that. Right click.
Right click. Align right
bring
column
that
preferences.
Window back.
Wireshark to advanced.
Oh balls, we did it wrong.
Wireshark.
Let's see.
Right click 2020 new column header, info header, destination header, new column header.
Yeah, so there's a new column column right now. It's not doing anything yet.
Column.
We'll
align center, align column preferences.
Column preferences.
Wireshark tutorial column 3 view, level 1.
We want to be on the second tree view, which is the list of columns. Again, these don't have any labels, so you sort of need to learn where everything is.
Row 5 level 1.
It would not be necessarily a bad thing to label these, so you have, say the columns tree view, or this could be the settings category tree view or something. I don't know.
Tree view, row 5 displayed column 1 level 1.
Can we change the name of this column? Let's see if we can
Delete
figure it out. Delete the
Show display
column.
columns
We
only, not
can
checked.
show displayed columns only.
Okay,
There's a
enter.
button. There's no way to
Okay.
edit this from the
Help.
keyboard, it looks
Preview,
like.
columns,
So we're
row two,
gonna have to
preview.
be a little tricky. What is this supposed to
Wireshark
be?
two.
Let's see.
Space. The title graphic been selected. A black arrow indicates that a new column has been created. The title is new column. Graphic. The type is number. Caption figure 14. Out of caption, name this new column SRC port and change the column.
Okay, name it SRC port and change the column type from number by double clicking on column type setting as shown below. Okay, so this is very mouse heavy. Let's first see if we can change that name.
Speech mode.
So we go to
new column title column
new
2 level
column.
1.
We move the mouse there, double click
left
it,
click.
and that
Select.
brings up an edit field. So that does work. Again, very mouse heavy. Not accessible for keyboard only users. You'd want to have some kind of way to make this editable. I maybe would suggest an edit button that just makes all of these tabbable and then makes them be like editable. I'm not really sure. We'll call this SRC port.
SRC port level 1.
That's now saved. Okay, and
number type column 3 level 1.
The type, what if happens
number.
if you click that?
Left click, combo box number collapse down.
That brings up a drop down. Okay, so again, not friendly for the keyboard. I don't think you can get that with the keyboard. But now you've brought it up with the mouse, you can change the type with the keyboard. So we can set this to source port, like we said. And I guess we press enter. Now it's a source port of type.
Fields column 4 level 1. Source port type column 3 level 1.
Do we need to change the fields as well?
Speech mode off.
Click again to bring up a scrollable list of options for the column type. Scroll down, select source port. Yeah, we did that. Oh, source port unresolved. I did it wrong. This is the wrong type. Let's change it.
Fields column 4 level 1.
Again, this is not relevant for the actual accessibility.
SRC port unresolved.
That's the one we're supposed to use. There you go.
Grab caption fit out of caption. Speech mode off.
Next, create a new column entry, label it DST port, and select DST port unresolved. Yeah, we're not going to do that right now because I just want to see if there's new stuff we can do. This is just the same thing over and over accessibility-wise. When finished, the column preferences window should show the two newly created columns as shown below. We can drag these columns to place SRC point after the source address and these point after the destination address entry. Left click to select, hold the mouse button, and drag the entry to its new position in the list. This is not accessible. We're going to try it. Don't get me wrong. We're going to try if this will work. There is a trick that sometimes works in these cases. We're going to try it.
Speech mode talk.
So
SRC port unresolved. SRC port left click. SRC port title column 3 view. Add a new column 3 view. Displayed header. Title type field resolve with header alignment row 1 this time field resolve 1 on default row source and field resolve minus default row destination address type column field resolve columns -1 width column 7 level resolve my default alignment column 8 row 4 displayed column 1 level 1 info title column 2 level 1 and from field resolve 12 default alignment row 5 displayed column 1 level 1 SRC port title column 2 level 1.
So we need to click
SRC port left click SRC port level 1.
Then we hold the button down, the mouse button. There's a hotkey for that.
Left mouse button lock.
Then we go back to the couple rows higher up with object navigation.
Displayed default row -1 width resolve column 6 field current field column source address type column 3 level 1 field resolve -1 default alignment row 3 displayed column 1 level 1 destination title column 2 level 1.
On destination, expecting it to then
destination
nudge that out of the way and shove it downwards. If that doesn't work, this is not going to be accessible for us to do. So I'm going to unlock the mouse now.
Left mouse button unlock.
And let's see what happened.
Info row SRC port info row destination row 3 level SR.
It did not work. So drag and drop
speech mode off
is inherently mouse based. Like a drag and drop is not something keyboard users can do ever. Unless there is some kind of keyboard based way of doing it. I'm looking at the time. I have half an hour left. Okay. Screen reader users can sometimes do it, but it's extremely unreliable. It almost never actually works right. Yeah, this is just not accessible. So you cannot reorder these columns yourself when you're a blind user, for example, or a keyboard user. The only way to do that is to essentially wipe out every column in this list and then put them in the way you like them, which is obviously a bunch of work that if you have a lot of columns you want to see all at once, is just, you have to do that every single time. Again, this might be something you can partially or entirely solve with display filters, but this is not accessible in the GUI as currently presented. You cannot change these, the order of these by yourself. That's just not accessible currently. So in that sense, if you need these to be in a different order, which we've already seen, that screen readers only read the leftmost column, so I could see why dragging these around might actually be helpful sometimes. That is not currently accessible. You'd have to invent some kind of keyboard shortcut that'll nudge a column to, say, the left or the right or up and down in the list. Maybe there is such a shortcut and I just don't know about it. But we cannot drag these. That's not accessible. So that needs fixing. That's problematic. All right, let's see if there. We're gonna just finish this tutorial and then we're gonna stop for today because there's plenty of stuff here that I think points out a lot of the problems that exist pretty well. After moving on to create, for instance, we suggest changing the column type for your source address to SRC unresolved and destinations to DST unresolved. Well, again, we've already shown that. If you do this, the column preference window should appear similar to figure 20. Now, well, that's fine. After completing these changes, click OK to close that column preferences window. Wireshark should now display the following 6 columns. I will do that so you guys actually have it on the screen. There you go. We added that new SRC port. It's the only change that we actually did. So there's nothing. If there's something missing, that's why. Is that the end of the tutorial? Yeah, all the other columns are aligned to the left. Right-click the column header for each of our right-aligned columns to bring up a menu, then click the Align Left checkbox to align these columns to the left. I've already seen that that's accessible. That was in the menu we were looking at before. So we're not going to do that either. When finished, the SRC port and DST port columns should be aligned to the left, matching all the other columns as shown below in figure 23. Again, mad respect for whoever wrote these. I need to go find Brad, what's his name, and tell him he did a good job on these. This is really good. Well, we can add several different types of columns through the column preferences window. We can not add every conceivable column type. For example, we cannot add a column showing the domains associated with web traffic this way. Fortunately, we can add a customized column that reveals these web traffic domains. Adding customized columns. What is this?
Wireshark allows users to add customized columns based on almost any value found in the frame. Details window. To better view the frame details, we should temporarily hide the hexadecimal view. Under the view menu, uncheck packet bytes as shown below in figure 24. Graphic image, graphic by caption, out of caption. Now we should only have 2 sections displaying gap data, the column display and the frame details. First, we should create a customized column for domains used in an encrypted Wireshark. Type http.request in the Wireshark filter bar and hit enter. Select the first frame in.
Okay, let's
first we should create a
try this. At least the last bit. In Wireshark type http.request in the Wireshark filter bar and hit enter. I'm guessing the display filter bar in this case. Let's go find that.
Display filter. Apply display. Packet bytes grouping. Frame.
Oh yeah, we're supposed to hide that. Let's hide that.
Show packet internals collapse. Show packet in new window alt plus W. And resize, reset, colorize, coloring rule, colorize, collapse, all, expand all, seat, collapse, sub, expand, sub, zoom, collapse, name, result, time, display, packet diagram, unavailable, packet bytes, alt plus B.
Yeah, so that's on. I'm going to turn that off for right now, so that's off out of our way. There we go.
Status bar. Warning. Open the capture file. Wireshark tutorial column setup.cap. Display filter toolbar. Wireshark display.
So http dot. Can I autocomplete? No, that's not accessible.
HTTP.
Okay. http.request.
Packet list review 2023-08-07-185700 collapsed level 1.
I'm not sure what just happened.
SRC port header. 2020 SR info head destination source header time header no previous. Wireshark speed
it took us back to the list of packages. Type HTTP request in the Wireshark filter bar and hit enter. Select the first frame in your column display. In the frame details section, expand the line for hypertext transmission protocol. Then find the host line. In this case, it should have MSFT connect test in the name. Left click on that line to select it, then right click to bring up a menu. Okay, let's try that. So frame number 1. Okay, it looks like what did that open a window? Oh, it opened a menu. That's silly. Okay, it looks like frame 25 is what we're looking at and not frame 1. I'm not entirely sure why that is, but that should still be fine. Let's see. Is there something about protocol in this? We got encapsulation type, we got arrival time, UTC, epoch. Frame number 25, yeah. Frame length. Oh, protocol. HTTP, okay. Let's see, coloring rule string, Ethernet 2, SRC Hewlett Packard, okay. This is not the same. This is not the same thing. I'm aware of that, but I'm looking at the transmission control protocol, hypertext control protocol. So that's currently expanded. This one is expandable with the right arrow key. So that does work well. That's good. And now we need to find the host, which is, let's see, get connection user agent host MSFT connect test. Oh, it is actually the right thing. Okay, so we need to click
RN row host www host
that particular line.
Left click.
Click it once, then right click it.
Right click. Wireshark expand subtrees
and that
available.
opened the menu. We can expand
subtrees
subtrees, collapse subtrees, expand all.
Collapse all. Apply as filter collapse.
Apply
Prepare
as
filter
filter.
collapse.
Prepare as filter.
Follow
I'm going
collapse.
to dismiss this right now because I'm not actually sure what I meant to click here.
Speech mode off.
So let's read. Pick up a menu. Select apply as column as shown below in figure 25. Okay, let's try if we can find that.
Apply as filter. Prepare as filter. Follow collapse. I/o grab copy collapse. Wiki product filter field. Expand subtrees. Collapse subtrees unavailable.
Doesn't
Expand
look like it,
collapse
but
all.
it might be.
Apply as filter collapsed.
It might be
Apply
this
as filter.
one.
http.host equals www selected. Not selected. And selected. Or selected. And not selected. Or not apply as filter.
Oh, apply as filter. Yeah.
Prepare as filter collapsed. Follow collapse. Prepare as filter. Follow collapsed. Separator of I/o graph copy separator. A separator. Wiki protocol filter field reference.
Interesting. I think I'm honestly doing something wrong here because that's not really coming up for me. But it does look like most of this is accessible-ish. Again, though, you'll need to use the mouse. So I think this is honestly quite enough for right now. Like we can hide columns and there's exporting your updated thing you can do. I'll believe that, honestly. A lot of menu diving seems to work fine. It's really just working with these columns that is tricky. And I think there is plenty to be fixed here. Like, there's a lot of things that are not as accessible as I'd like them to be. Can you use this as a screen reader user with a bit of wiggling? I guess so. I don't think you'd want to use this as your daily driver every single day. If you do, you might want to create some macros or something to click things for you or anything of that nature. But I would also not agree that this is entirely inaccessible. Like, it's usable. It's not great. It's definitely not great. It needs improvements. Particularly for keyboard-only users that don't use a mouse, but also don't use a screen reader. They are really hosed in some particular ways you can't really fix easily. So that is not great. Screen reader users can work with this, provided they're willing to embrace the more advanced side of their screen reader, which makes them slower. It does take longer to get things done that way, and that is a shame. So in that sense, I hope I gave some suggestions on how we can make that better. Apart from that, though, yeah, very mixed bag, I'd say. Because some of it works fine, some of it works badly. Some of it is probably easy to fix. Some of it will be harder to fix. And yeah, we'll have to see how things progress. I think that's gonna be it for me for today. I don't want to spend another 1.5 hours just going through these options and things.
Speech mode off.
I'm hoping for people who don't know what this tool does, it gives a bit of an impression of what you're meant to be doing with it. You're supposed to look at patterns and look at protocols, look at hosts that you can see that keep getting hit. Like you can see, like you can get a lot of information from these kinds of captures to see what a computer was talking to, what was talking to the computer in turn. You can sort of follow the conversations and get all sorts of interesting things. And Wireshark is really like complicated. There's a lot of things it can do, a lot of things you can do with it. And it's not, you know, I'm here to show the accessibility or lack thereof for certain things. I think for a college course, you could probably make this work, provided you have infinite time, and you're willing to like play around with your stream reader a tiny bit, particularly NVDA. I think JAWS might have a bit more trouble with some of these things, but we'd have to see. Yes, that is pretty much all I had for today. Let me find if someone is there that I can raid out to. Is there anyone still watching that I should raid out with? Or does anyone just fall asleep from all this? That would be fair. It is a dry topic sometimes. Alright, we got 2 people. I'll take it. Hey, the Lurks bot is gone. I wonder who that was. Alright, well. Let's see. Is there anyone to bully? If not, we'll just call it. It's fine. Yeah, I don't immediately see anyone. So I think I'm just going to call it here today, guys. This has been me looking at the Shark of the Wire. Kind of funny because Wireshark and JAWS. Bit of a shark motif we have going on here, but that's it. That's Wireshark's accessibility, at least the bare essentials of it. I'm sure there's things I didn't cover. I'm sure there's views I didn't cover. I'm sure there's things that you can do that are super fancy that I didn't know about. But from a person looking in from the other side, like from a person that just isn't familiar and has to use it for the very first time, but with the technical knowledge that I do possess, yeah, this is sort of my take. It's doable. It's just not great. It needs to be fixed and be better. Particularly because it has the the renown that it has. It's a very like well-known tool. A lot of people use it. So it'd be great if a lot of people weren't excluded by the fact they couldn't use it, and that's currently what's happening. So let's do better. Let's as a whole just hope we can do better and make this work better for a lot of users. Yeah, that's my take. That's what you're gonna have to deal with and what you're gonna have to accept as my answer to this question is Wireshark accessible? Kinda. Is it inaccessible? Kinda. Is it both? Yep. So with that, have a fantastic day. I'll be back as Xerxes tomorrow with a wee bit of gaming, probably Diablo 4 on Saturday. Provided I can get my PlayStation resolution to work out, we can do some PlayStation games. Because I've run out of spontaneous computer games that I can just whip out for the moment. And next week is going to be pre-talk week, so I'm not sure if I'll be streaming that week, but we'll see. For now, that's been me. That's been it. That's been fun. Hope this was